Yes, hello and welcome to Ecoholics. I hope I am audible. Just respond in the comment section so that I get to know that I am audible. Yes, good evening everyone. We'll start in a minute. Okay, by the time you can come in, we'll start in a second so that people can come. Hi Komal, how are you? I'm good. What about you? Okay, thank you. So we'll start in a minute. A lot of students from the batch are also here. Good to see you, everyone. Shall I start with that? Yes. So this is a half an hour session. We'll try to decode whatever it is in the exam. Yes. Some of the questions are already here. Srajan is asking if a person is pursuing MA in economics IGNOU along with work after 2 years, that person is yes will be eligible. Yeah, happy Dashera. I think same to you, but I don't know it's today or tomorrow. I guess all over India we are celebrating tomorrow, so it's same to you. For you, happy Dashera. I hope you can see the screen in a minute. Yes. I hope you can see the screen. I can also see in a minute. It's a bit delay. It's here. Okay. So this is what we have. If you want this segregated previous year questions, they are available on Ecoholics mobile app. Okay. So in the half of the screen, I'll try to adjust myself, maybe a bit small, so you can see the question paper properly. Yes. Okay. Now everything is visible. Yes. Now this is segregated questions, so we can see the difference that we will compare as well. Okay, in this lecture we'll take care of Indian economy. So one question asked here, 3 question asked last year. Okay, so here we can say how to read the syllabus, how to interpret the syllabus. So this is how you can see, like history of development and planning, alternative development strategies, goal of self-reliance based on import substitution and protection, globalization, stabilization, structural adjustment package, this and this. Okay, so discuss the rationale and the objectives of disinvestment policy in India, assess its performance. So whenever you'll get the question like this, I always recommend to the students the word discuss. What's the meaning of this? First you need to focus on that. Then there are two things, rationale and objectives. Now whenever we talk about disinvestment policy, can anyone tell me in the comment section what are the objectives? Like there are two objectives. If you disinvest, government's stake, and a government stakes goes down, but government raised funds. Okay, apart from these two, there are another we can say other kind of objectives. Once the objective, we can say, to make any public sector enterprise efficient. So if you make any public sector efficient, enterprise efficient, these are the three major objectives. So these are the objectives. Rationale means what is the requirement, okay, why government is motivating to do these kind of activities, and assess its performance. So if you see the performance, it was 58,000, then 80,000 crore, and then 90,000 crore in the successive last 3 years. So government has been increasing. You can give the example of BPCL and HPCL, where government is thinking to like do some strategic disinvestment. So you have to assess that performance here. That is the only thing required in the question. Okay. Now if we can move towards this federal finance, this is second module. In the federal finance, generally the most important topic is the finance commission. It is written here. So although this year we all were expecting 15th finance commission, but there was the question from the 14th finance commission. Although in the class, what I have done, I have compared these two. So all of you can understand that this is how you have to prepare. Whenever some new thing comes, what you need to do, you need to distinguish with the previous one, or you have to compare with it. So here we can say we read the question. Now whenever you have the question with you in the examination hall, do one thing, mark it properly. The word is discuss, the weightage assigned determining the sharing of union tax proceeds and recommendations of the 14th finance commission. So the content is simple. The criteria weightage you have to discuss. This is, so can you tell me what are the major criterias? Okay, so I request you to all of you, whatever doubt or whatever you have, you can ask later on when I will give you the chance after each and every question. But please do not ask in between, because like when I read comments, I generally feel distracted. So first I will tell you what you have to write, then if I will ask all of you. So you have to see that what are the areas where you can contribute in particular answer. So my question to you is simple. Now you can tell me the criteria like income distance, criteria like population, criteria like demographic features, forest cover that is related to environment, and like this. So you have to tell each and every criteria. Okay, so these are the simple, you have to discuss criteria weightage, only thing. So the straightforward question. I think all of you have attempted the exam, they must have done this question easily. Now the budgeting and fiscal policy. Now here budgeting and fiscal policy, the syllabus divides into three parts. If we understand, this is tax, that is revenue, next is expenditure, and another third aspect of budgeting and fiscal policy is borrowing. So under borrowing we have all kind of deficit. Now you can see that this is a COVID time, and it was expected that I told you in the class as well that the question from FRBM will surely come. So explain the concept. Here the word explain. Okay. If you want the sheet of keywords, these keywords like explain, examine, critically evaluate, do you agree, like this, what you have to write there. Okay. This is like you can download it from the app. The app, it is available freely. You can just go and download it. Link is given in the description. So you have to explain what concept, feature and recent changes. So can you tell me everyone? Yeah, forest cover and other things you have to include there. So concept, feature and recent changes. Can you tell me in recent changes what are the things that you have to write? The number one thing is the N.K. Singh committee. N.K. Singh committee who recommended the review of FRBM committee act. So fiscal responsibility and budget management in the context of limiting India's fiscal deficit and debt deficit. Now you know that in the recent review of FRBM act by N.K. Singh committee, they have suggested that the issue is to reduce the debt of general government below the 60% of GDP, 40 for the center and 20 for the state. Okay. Examine the causes and the consequences of recent slowdown in the Indian economy. So recent, whenever we say, it's like it started with 2016 demonetization, then 2017 the implementation of GST, and later on 2020 due to COVID. So these three, causes and consequences. Causes, you can say here, the currency withdrawal 2017 is new tax, so it has increased the cost. Okay, and 2020 shutdown, lockdown, etc. Led to slow down the economy. So three pronged causes. Consequences are like in 2016 lot of problem faced by the informal sector, so this is one of the consequences. In GST is like complexities and some, we can say, the problems related to GST is in implementation. So initially it was like difficult to understand the new tax system, but it's great for the economy in the long term. So you can write like this. And COVID, you can say that the sudden supply chain disruption was there, because you know that in economics or whenever we trade, there's a supply chain, and just because of lockdown in the markets, the problem in the supply chain, that created a problem. Now what are the initiatives undertaken by the government to overcome it? Now whenever you have been asked by these kind of sentences, you have to write current affairs. First is Atmanirbhar Bharat. Second, the steps taken by RBI, repo rate and other things, moratorium and other. And you give your suggestions. So whatever they are asking, give your suggestion. Do not give your own suggestion. Okay, own suggestion they are not demanding. What kind of suggestions they are demanding? They are demanding the suggestions related to the whatever you are reading in the newspaper. So majorly what government has been doing, and some unique suggestion if you have which is applicable. It's not like if you give the suggestion it is not applicable in real life. So don't give these kind of suggestions, because UPSC demands realistic suggestions. Okay, so this is done in the third one. Let's see the next module that we have, the poverty, unemployment and human development. So poverty, estimates of inequality, poverty measures, government measures, India's human development record and India's population policy. So write a note on Human Development Report 2019 with reference to India. Here this was a 5-marker question, so generally whenever they ask questions like they write a note, it means you just have to mention the basic feature or basic feature that you want to write here. Then what are the causes? So you just block this. What are the causes and the extent of unemployment in India? Okay. So in the class, if you remember, causes related to, there are a lot of causes related to agriculture sector. So you think, then industry sector and services sector. So in services sector, we can say the joblessness or jobless growth is one of the major problem in service sector regarding unemployment. In industries, skill is the most important element missing, and in agriculture is disguised unemployment. So disguised unemployment, skills, and joblessness or jobless growth. So these are the three major causes. And in the extent you can give the data as well, like the contribution of the agriculture to GDP and the employment. Now the next part of the question, what do you understand, okay, by the term jobless growth? So you can mention that when economy is growing but jobs are not growing, that is called jobless growth. Explain in the light of recent experience. Okay, so explain in the light of recent experience. You can see that just because if you see since 2014, Indian economy has been growing. An economy has been growing on the basis of two things, investment and consumption. But generally, if you see, private investment was not up to the mark. So we can say economy was not growing on the back of private investment and other type of investment. So economy was growing on consumption based. So consumption driven economy. In the recent, you can say consumption, and generally this is because of the consumption of the services. So service sector is incapable of creating huge number of jobs, and that is why in the light of recent experience, government has been putting more emphasis on schemes like Make in India that will promote manufacturing in India so that jobs can be created. Okay. Next is what are the main pillars of Make in India? If you remember in the class, I told you there are 4 pillars. 4 pillars of Make in India. Discuss the impact of it on a manufacturing. So A is your manufacturing, B is your automobile sector. Why automobile sector? If you remember in the live session in the last year, October, November, I was discussing quite extensively what is happening in the automobile sector. So automobile sector was struggling with the problem of lack of demand. Lack of demand, that was the main problem in the automobile sector. So after telling main pillars, you can discuss the impact. What is the impact of this manufacturing and automobile sector? Problem was we are switching towards Bharat stage 6 norms, environmental norms. So that is where the old vehicle lost their demand in the market. Okay, so this was the problem. It means jobs were cut down. Okay, the problem of demand deficiency, so created the surplus of all the automobiles, and that too of old norms, that was Bharat stage 4. Now it has been since 2020 April we are shifted on BS 6. Now give an account of MG and REGA in India. Explain the extent to which it has been successful in combating rural employment and poverty. What are your suggestions to make it more effective? Now this is a very, very important question. This question came into the examination is due to COVID migration. I told you many times in the Sunday's discussion, live session discussion, while we were discussing how to prepare for IES this year, due to COVID, migration was there, and migration, you can understand that is urban to rural. So when urban to rural means you have to generate jobs in the rural areas, and in rural areas, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, or the scheme, is the most important scheme that assures 100 days of employment. So what you have to write here? You have to write that Manrega will efficiently absorb these labors coming from urban area to rural area. But how you make more effective? It means that these Manrega wages, so first is wage revision. Wage revision should be there. If you do not revise the wages, like wages is related to the old series, so 1986-87 base year, old series of CPI, so that should be increased, and this was the headline in the Hindu newspaper. So you can understand, to crack this paper 4, you need to read the Hindu newspaper quite extensively. Okay. So some of the students are asking, Some of students are asking हिंदी में होता है. This exam is only in English. हिंदी में ये एग्ज़ाम नहीं होता है, सिर्फ इंग्लिश में होता है. ठीक है. Now agriculture and rural development strategies. ठीक है. Now here we have certain syllabus. So technologies, institution, land relation, land reforms, rural credit, modern farm input, marketing में there are three things. Price policy, that is MSP, subsidies, that is we can say MSP and PDS, commercialization and diversification. Then rural development strategy including poverty alleviation programs and employment guarantee scheme. So you can see briefly discuss the salient features of national agriculture market. Okay, so here a market means directly this question from this part of the syllabus. Then discuss the salient features of National Food Security Act in India. Give it a critical assessment to it. So whenever we have the National Food Security Act like this, so this question is directly from the price policy and subsidies. Now subsidies may be hidden culprit in India's farm crisis. Why? Because when you have subsidies, when investment goes down. Critically examine the statement. Critically means first you have to write the negative points, then you have to provide positive with solutions, and at last constructive conclusion. So this is how you have to write. Next, that we have discussed the trends in the agriculture growth rates in India during the post-reform period. So agriculture growth, we can say Green Revolution 2.0. Okay. And what are the factors responsible for the decline in the growth rate? So here you have to write factors responsible. So whenever you write in the examination, you just write, this is a question, you just write first one, discuss. So discuss should be in paragraph. Okay. Then factors, so you just write factors responsible and you write in the bullet points. Okay. Then evaluate, so you cannot write this in bullet points, so you have to write in what I can say in paragraph. Measures taken by the government to revive this sector. So it's a fairly a big question that you can understand, 3-part question. So it must be having the 25 marks or 20 marks. I hope the idea is clear. So factor responsible for this and that. Any doubt in these questions if you have? Today we are doing for Indian economy. In the next Sunday we'll do another paper. So this will go till 4 Sunday. Now this is a very important unit for this year's examination, and I can say it is also important for 2021. So for 2021, those who are preparing, this is another very important topic, because you know this word and this word originated from COVID. So different types of migratory flows, their impact on the economies of their origin, destination, process of growth of urban settlements and urban development strategy. 3 small questions. Like, what are the objectives of the smart city mission in India? Simple question directly from the newspaper. Discuss in brief the salient features of Digital India program. Another directly from the newspaper. Then bring out the factors responsible for rapid urbanization in India. What are the policy measures taken by prevent undesirable effects of the rapid urbanization? Now, whenever a city faces urbanization, like Delhi, almost I can say 70 to 80% population is migrated. Now, if Delhi is not able to tolerate that huge amount of inflow, what they will do? They will make satellite towns like Gurugram, Noida, Okhla, like this. Okay. So, what we can say? The problem with the urban, or what are the policy measures taken to prevent the undesirable effect of rapid urbanization? First of all, what we need is a scheme for jobs, because people are coming to Delhi in search of a better opportunities. So we have to implement some Manrega type of scheme for urban. Okay, like Mahatma Gandhi National Rural. So you write Mahatma Gandhi National Urban Employment Guarantee Program you should give. And when government will increase these kind of schemes, that will prevent undesirable effects. Another problem is in rural areas people do not find opportunities. So when people do not find opportunities, they move from the rural to urban areas. Although this time we have seen the reverse version, but what we can say that from rural to urban, if people are moving, they are moving for better opportunities, or they are moving for better, we can say, the distress from the rural farm field. So generally farmers who leave farming, they move from rural to urban areas. Okay. Now industry. So in the industry, another important unit, very important, insurance market, pension market, like this. So we see the questions. No question this time. Okay, labor. Now here this is simple question, discuss the recent reforms in the labor market. Now here whenever they ask for discuss, do not write in the bullet points. Okay, this is the question, write in the paragraph form. Okay, write in the paragraph form. So discussion, because discussion cannot be in the bullet points, it should be in paragraph. So a lot of students ask whether to write in bullet points, whether to write in like the paragraph wise. So it depends on the question. Okay. So recent labor reforms, recent reforms in the labor market in India. You can see the reforms related to wages, reforms related to firing policies, reforms related to the social security like PF and EPFO, reforms related to the employee protection, okay, Factories Act, the protection for employers as well, protection from like insolvency. So these are the points that you have to write in this. I hope the idea is clear. Okay, at last I'll take all your doubts. Now examine the foreign trade policy in India in the context of its vision and mission and objective. So this again directly from the newspaper. If you read the newspaper of April, May, it was in the news, the Hindu. Why it was in the news? Can anyone tell me in the comment section? If I will read, can you tell me? Batao. Why it was in news in April and May? This is my question. Why it was in news? Anyone? All the question they are asking in UPSC, they are all linked with current affairs. Okay, someone saying trade war, someone is saying China aggression. I would say the answer is simple, because the foreign trade policy is dedicated for 2015 and 20 period, and recently just because of COVID they have extended till 2021 March. Okay, so they have extended the deadline, that's why this question came into the examination. Okay, so foreign trade policy, context and vision, mission and objective. The number one objective is export promotion. Next objective is export base widened. We have to widen the export base. Why? Because we have 20 commodities majorly, that is covering around 75% of our export basket. Okay, so export promotion, export we can say promotion and export the base widened. Then the problem or the promotion related to the export credit as well, the turnaround time of the ships and the port, like the example for JNPT in comparison to the Hong Kong Singaporean port. Okay, So the answer is pretty simple. You just have to write the objectives. Pretty straightforward question once again. Now money and banking, it was expected this time. I told every student that money and banking is the important topic for this year's exam. Why? Because RBI was very proactive since the pandemic. Okay. Yeah, that is doubling of the export, Weber. Doubling of the export by 2022. Now see, two questions are there. We'll see. Give an account of the progress and the expansion of banking network and Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana in the context of financial inclusion in the rural India. Okay. So again, linked with current affairs. So give an account means you have to provide the timelines starting from 2014 August when Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana implemented, okay, till the point 2020 when we have almost 100% financial inclusion. All the banks are providing accounts to every individuals. Okay, so this is how the process started. Then we have discussed the capital market reforms in India. Capital market. Generally, they do not ask questions related to capital market, but this time they asked. So, what is the role of the capital market? So, here the keyword is role. Here the keyword is discuss. What? Reforms. So, what is the role of the capital market in India's industrial growth? The most important role is raising funds, okay, providing capital for the long-term investment, and highlight the measures taken by SEBI. Okay, so features of SEBI, we can say the powers of SEBI in the development of capital market in India. So you can give their their roles and responsibility of Securities and Exchange Board of India, how they are preventing the interest of the investor, how they are providing the information to the investor, again insider trading and other things that has been prohibited. So you can see that the amount of foreign portfolio investment that India is receiving majorly just because of the control and the powers enjoyed by SEBI. This is how you can conclude it at the end. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can ask, okay, anytime. This time we were expecting one of the question from this. So directly from the syllabus, distinguish between WPI and CPI. I think anyone who is preparing for UPSC, he must be having these points. So distinguishing, it means this is based on wholesale prices, this is based on the consumer retail prices. Which of the following are including more volatile items? Headline inflation, the items, the base year, who published these, like this you have to tell. Then what are the causes and the consequences of inflation in India? So two things you write. In the exam you write causes. What are the causes of inflation? Demand pull and cost push. Okay, what are the consequences? The price rise, problem with the supply chain, erosion of the income, debtor, creditor are struggling, like this. What are the initiatives and the measures taken by RBI to contain it? The answer is Monetary Policy Committee is dedicated towards that, bi-monthly policy. Another initiative is Monetary Policy Framework Agreement, which is the agreement between Government of India and RBI. This was based on the Dr. Urjit Patel Committee, the then Deputy Governor of RBI, and this Monetary Policy Framework Agreement decided that 4% inflation should be there with a bar of plus minus 2%. So the fluctuation is allowed till 2%. It means maximum and minimum inflation is 6% and 2% respectively. In this context, discuss the relevance of inflation targeting in India. Relevance is there. You can see, you can give the example of global examples like New Zealand is having MPC and they are working pretty fine. Okay, so this is what the paper is all about. Remaining things we'll discuss in the next session. In the next session we will see general economics other papers, so stay tuned till next Sunday. If you have anything to be asked, you can ask right now, okay, where we will discuss this. You can ask your doubts now. I'm ready, I'm open for all your doubts. Expected cutoff. Expected cutoff is a big call, but I would expect that it's around 42% this time. So around 420 marks. Okay. Abhishek asked one question in subsidies and NFSA question, how to use the data. In NFSA question, you can give that the National Food Security Act has given mandate that grain should be provided at 3 rupees, 2 rupees and 1 rupees, and data you can give to Antodaya. You have to provide 35 kgs of food grains. Then the subsidy, you can provide that excess amount of subsidy in urea that led to the decline in the soil quality. And you can give the example of NPK ratio, that is nitrogen, phosphate and potash. So that ratio, ideal ratio should be 4:2:1. Okay, but just because of excess subsidy, farmers are over exploiting, they are using more urea. That is creating a problem in the soil quality. Another type of, you can give that excess amount of electricity or water supply that is subsidized. So people generally tend to misuse that or overuse that, overexploit that. As per your opinion, how much score is considered as a good score? So I think it's over 400, 410, it's a good score. Sachin, this exam is only in English medium, Hindi mein nahi hota hai. Abhishek, I have answered your previous question that you have asked. So no other question? Whoever was asked another question, comparatively difficult. See, each year the paper is almost same. It's your level that has enhanced. Okay. So we cannot say, we cannot term as, suppose you know econometrics and in some paper you'll feel that all the econometrics questions is like from your domain. Then obviously the paper is easy. Suppose someone is prepared well about Indian economics and the questions directly from that. So if you can predict the question paper, because in the test series there were a lot of questions in our test series from the monetary policy, from other areas which are expected to come this year. So a lot of questions. This is how we can go for it. A new batch has already started, Sumit. And I don't think so there will be another batch will come, so it is not possible because we do not have much time. The batch has already started. We have completed economic thought, financial and capital market, and we are currently doing growth and development. So in the last class I taught Caldor model. Okay. See, the numbers are flashing on the screen, and you can also note down the number from the description. Okay, you can call me. 11 a.m. is the calling time. 11 a.m. is the calling time, so you can contact. Okay, so that's it from my side, and thank you so much. We'll see you on next Sunday with another paper, maybe General Economics 3, General Economics 2, we'll see. And then on the subsequent Sundays, we'll take one by one each and every paper. Okay, so I don't think so anything is there to be asked. So thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next Sunday.